Welcome into Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you are having a fantastic week. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for the best Sixers news and rumors, youtube.com/76erstv. We start off on the rumors front for Philadelphia. Then we'll get to what Daryl Morey had to say about the acquisitions and the signings of P.J. Tucker as well as Danuel House, shedding some insight on some of the marquee additions to this roster this offseason. A new big three in Philadelphia. Could it happen? I'm not down for it because in order to bring in Donovan Mitchell to the city of brotherly love, you have to part ways with the guy who I've been high on ever since the Sixers drafted him. I'm talking about Tyrese Maxey. But we're talking about Donovan Mitchell. Why? Because the Salt Lake Tribune recently pitched a Donovan Mitchell to the Sixers trade idea, and included in it, Philadelphia would send Tobias Harris to Utah, as well as Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, and first-round picks in 2024 as well as 2026. And in the process, the Sixers would get a scoring punch and a new-look big three alongside Joel Embiid as well as James Harden if he re-signs, and the Jazz would be able to fill out that roster. Here's my take on the situation. Is it to the point, given how Tyrese Maxey played in the playoffs and his value to this team and the growth that we saw from his rookie year to his sophomore campaign, where Tyrese Maxey is untouchable? I'd basically make him untouchable in any trade outside of maybe Kevin Durant, but that's unrealistic up to this point. Why do I think he's untouchable? On top of the jump that we saw from year one to year two. He works hard. This guy has a vivacious personality. I think is really important to the Sixers culture. And I think having a guy like this is really, really important. And when you look at the overall game, I'm so high on Tyrese Maxey. Some people here at Chat Sports, shout out to Marshall Green, he was ripping me for saying that Tyrese Maxey is a future star with how he was able to ball out in the NBA Summer League. But we saw him have that potential last year of becoming a star. We certainly saw that in the playoffs as well. Averaged nearly 21 points per game as the Sixers' second best offensive player behind Joel Embiid. No, that is not a hyperbolic statement. Nearly 4 dimes per game. He was one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA last year at nearly 38% in the playoffs, right around that number in the regular season, and around 48% from the field. Now, he's a little bit undersized as a guard, and it's of my opinion that you win championships with wing players as well as guards, but he's able to make up for that lack of size with just an innate ability to finish around the rim. Let's pivot back, though, to Donovan Mitchell. Brian Windhorst saying this on Thursday morning. On Donovan Mitchell's side, he is going to stand pat. He is not going to force any action right now after the trade of Rudy Gobert. And because of that trade of Rudy Gobert, does Donovan Mitchell want to stay in Utah? Because, frankly, he just wanted to get rid of Rudy Gobert, and now he gets to be the franchise face in Utah, and they get to build the roster around him. Maybe. Now, there's been somewhat of a slight decline in play and production for D-Mitch the last couple of years. But in the playoffs, he's certainly had some really good moments. And in the regular season, this guy's a walking bucket. Defensively, if he wants to be considered one of the best players in the NBA, has to be better. But he's a joke on that end of the floor. But offensively, he's anything but a joke. Last year, 26 points per, and then you look at the shooting numbers with a ton of volume. He can shoot from the logo. He can get to the rim, has that D-Wade type of game. Really special guy, but I'm not willing to give up all of that to bring in Donovan Mitchell to Philly. Before we get to what Daryl Morey had to say about P.J. Tucker, Danuel House, and a couple of other items, I want to hear from you. I think Maxey is untouchable. What do you think, though? Let me know in the comment section. 1 for yes, 2 for no. We're going to switch it up on you here. Either way, let me know right now in the comment section. Coming up next, Daryl Morey discussing P.J. Tucker. There's also a contractual report about a change in what we thought that Tucker deal was going to be, and it's actually better for Philadelphia. Also, some notes on Danuel House. But first, a little bit of a rivalry going on inside the walls here at Chat Sports and on the basketball floor and altogether in culture, because Philadelphia doesn't like Boston and Boston doesn't like Philadelphia. Well, if you want to take care of that and you want to show Celtics fans that they're frauds and that Will Scott is a joke, subscribe to Philadelphia 76ers Now. Celtics Today, nearly 11,000 subs, but here's the deal. This channel has been in existence for a really long time, and we're approaching the year mark on 76ers. Now, you want to stay in the know with all things Sixers? Do you want coverage that's interactive, informative, and entertaining and real? Well, subscribe right now, youtube.com/76ers TV. Let's overtake those Boston bums. As for what Daryl Morey had to say about P.J. Tucker, obviously he knows him well. He was running basketball operations when P.J. Tucker was with the Houston Rockets. P.J. Tucker, Morey said, one of the most respected and relentless competitors in our game, and is the type of competitor our fans will love and embrace. We're excited to add his leadership, his toughness, defensive versatility, and championship pedigree to our roster. Now, originally, it looked as though P.J. Tucker was going to sign that 3-year, $30+ million contract, and it was going to be fully guaranteed. According to Jake Fisher, though, of Bleacher Report, that third year is going to be a player option. That's advantageous for Philadelphia and for P.J. Tucker. Tucker, 37 years old. He's played a lot the last couple of years. He plays against and defends some of the best wings in the NBA. So how is he going to age? That third year could be troublesome for Philadelphia. It is going to be a player option, so there is flexibility on that front. As for what Morey had to say about Danuel House, not going to lie, this kind of got me excited about him, and I know what House can bring to the table, but Morey said this about House. Daniel is a very talented two-way player who immediately bolsters our wing depth and strengthens our roster. He is a willing shooter from outside who can space the floor and punish the opposition. Good word right there. On defense, his size, athleticism, ability to guard multiple positions make him a tough matchup, especially as we plan for a deep playoff run. I'm excited for Daniel's future in Philadelphia, and I'm excited for him too. It became so clear and apparent that throughout the playoffs, and even in years previous, the Sixers, they didn't have these types of guys, right? They lacked dogs, they lacked perimeter defense, and they lack some defensive versatility and overall depth. And Danuel House certainly adds to that. And you look at the Sixers' potential starting five, and then that bench unit as well is increased with the acquisition of Danuel House. I kind of like this lineup. Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, P.J. Tucker. I know a lot of you look at the numbers for Tucker, and you're like, man, we're paying this guy $10 million per year. $10 million, if he gives the Sixers what he gave the Heat last year and then the Bucks 2 years ago, that right there, folks, exceptional value for a guy who brings much-needed toughness and defense to this team. So you look at the starting five right here. I pivot from that to this. Are the 76ers better or are they worse than they were last year? Let me know right now. B for better, W for worse. I don't know. I think they're better because I think their depth is better. DeAnthony Melton, also a huge part of that Sixers depth addition. Before we get out of here, subscribe to the channel. Got to catch up the Boston Celtics today, as well as New York Knicks now. You see the link down below. Be a real one and subscribe. YouTube.com/76ers TV. I appreciate all of you.